I'm Scott.
I'm TJ.
And this is a review. On today's episode, we'll be reviewing Dwayne Johnson. I'm sorry, Black Adam. Black Adam is the latest Dwayne Johnson movie. There's DC characters in it as well. TJ, what did you think about Black Adam?
It was a movie starring Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson is in the film, yes. Would you give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a meh thumb?
For most people, it's gonna be like this.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, but it's a solid, it's whatever.
I'm a meh as well, but leaning towards a down. Kind of a shaky meh towards a down, because, I don't know, this wasn't a very good movie. But, we're going to tell you why it wasn't a very good movie, or why it was a meh movie in just a second here. And we all know this is a very controversial film. There's a lot of big DC fans out here who have been looking forward to this, and we're going to explain why this is maybe not the movie that's going to jump it to the next level in just a sec. But you got to like and subscribe first, otherwise the video is going to explode and Black Adam's going to rip you in half. Because that's something he does. Spoiler alert. Oh, that's a good spoiler skull moment.
Yep.
Spoiler skull. Spoiler skull. So there you have it. We're going to spoil this movie, including the infamous mid-credits scene that everyone's talking about, which has already been spoiled. By the time you've seen this, if you haven't heard who's in this movie at the end, then you're probably not paying attention, or you haven't seen it.
People are actually calling them out, thinking that they literally leaked this scene to hype the movie. To draw more
you mean
people
Dwayne Johnson?
Oh, did he?
Who literally was like, we're bringing Henry Cavill back. He's coming back. I've made sure of it. He made a thing about the first time I suited up and walked out of my trailer and I saw the whole JLA standing in front of me, and I'm like, Justice Society or Justice League? Because the Justice League is not in this movie, but the Justice Society is. You got Ant-Man, Atom Smasher.
Yep.
You got Storm, Cyclone,
Doctor Strange,
Dr. Fate.
That's right.
You've got who else is on the team?
Is that it? Falcon.
Hawkman.
Oh, that's right.
Tony Stark, Hawkman.
Right.
Who lives in the X-Men mansion. I was expecting when the Quinjet was coming up in the air, it was like da-da-da-da-da. There's a lot to talk about here, mostly involving Dwayne Johnson. The movie itself is pretty boring. I thought it had a decent start. I was interested for a while.
It was really good until Act 2.
Until around the part Black Adam shows up.
No, I like when Black Adam shows up. He has this great fight scene.
The first intro to him,
bunch of fun kills. He saves someone. It's a good moment to establish an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Then he goes out. I even like when they follow him and he's looking at the statue. All the way up until that moment, I'm in. And I'm going, this is going to be more fun than I thought it was. Then it goes downhill.
And then the movie has a climax, and then it ends, and then it completely repeats the climax a second time.
Yep.
And it's the most baffling. I remember, so the movie's winding down, and it's like...
I actually thought it was over.
I literally thought it was over with Black Adam being put in jail in some Amanda Waller hell site. And I looked at my phone and I'm like, no, there's still 40 minutes at least left of this thing, or an hour maybe, I don't know. I don't remember how long it was, but I could tell there's no way it was over. And unfortunately, it's not.
He's been asleep for 5,000 years.
You find us a cell that can hold him, we'll take care of the rest.
Who's on the team?
The writing in a movie is not that great if the answer to how does the bad guy rise in power is we have to depower our hero and put him in prison so that this can even be plausible.
That's because Black Adam is the biggest Mary Sue of all time. This character has no weakness whatsoever that we know of. He's just... Excuse me, he's actually weak to Eternium. It's just too much. It's like, come
if
on.
you thought it's hard to make a Superman movie because Superman's hard to humanize, they went the opposite way on this, and we're like,
right,
we're just gonna make him invincible.
He's invincible.
We're not even gonna try.
I get it. He's an anti-hero, so it's harder to make him like nice, like have that vulnerability side of. I don't know. Like
Sure.
they need something to like. His backstory is very. Oh, his son died. Okay, it was 5,000 years ago.
But the
Over
problem,
it.
and once again, this is a huge problem for me. They spoiled it again in the marketing
trailer?
for the movie. In the trailer, he says, "My son gave up his life so that I could live again."
Sure.
My son sacrificed his life to save me.
There is that like angle that he's supposed to be the protector of what is it?
He's the champion.
Wakanda?
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Kondak.
Kondak.
Where they have the vibranium mines.
Eternium that they mine.
Eternium. And that's kind of the thing in the movie that they're after, right? Is this crown made of the Eternium.
Right.
Unobtainium.
Which turns you into Satan.
It turns you into Satan. Yeah. If you put it on. It seemed like it was like he had to sit down on the throne, which I was a little confused about that too. Did they explain that the throne, was it magic?
He
or
was
something?
definitely sitting on the throne in the flashback.
Right. But he had the crown, I thought was the key.
Well,
was the throne and the crown combo? I don't know.
I wish I could tell you, Scott.
But most of this movie is just the Justice
Society
fighting.
And what are
Dwayne
they?
Johnson.
The minor league team of the Justice League?
Yeah, that's basically what they are.
What it is? Okay.
So yeah, Cyclone, Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate was my favorite character in the movie. He's the only character in the movie.
I also... Is he necessary to the film? Not at all. But the Atom guy?
No. Oh, Atom Smasher?
Atom Smasher.
Yeah.
He was at least likable and like you could follow him, and he added a good lightness to a movie that had a hard time finding where to put that.
DC movies cannot stop with the like, oh, he physically changes. He has to eat a bunch of food. They do that with The Flash. They do that all the time. And it's like, okay, we get it. We don't need to see. I don't care.
It's called being grounded, Scott.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see him constantly eating chips.
I need to know about it.
Hey,
and
Lay's.
Call it out.
Lay's. Little sponsorship here. He's eating Lay's.
It's the Michael Bay effect on action movies. That first Transformers film when the soda machine.
Oh, of course. Well, this felt like, talking about other directors, this felt like a Zack Snyder fan film.
Yeah.
In the worst way possible. I mean, this also like, people always are like, oh, the DC people are always like, oh, Marvel movies suck because they have too many jokes. This movie is filled with bad, quippy jokes that are exactly like the worst parts of every Marvel movie.
Right.
So I'm like, they're balancing the worst parts of the Zack Snyder movies with the overly self-important bravado of these characters, but also mixing in the annoying, quippy stuff that people hate. I'm like, it's the worst of both worlds.
But what you don't get is they're also commenting on it. Because there's a bit where he can't figure out how to get the catchphrase right.
Oh, God.
You know? And so he's got to say it after he kills the person, but that's too late. And how would you know that? So then, you got to do it a third time, which is called a callback. It's terrible.
It's terrible, and it's cringy, and it's exactly what people who criticize Marvel complain about. And we've criticized Marvel ourselves. I don't think either of us were big fans of the Thor movie, and a lot of this new phase of the Marvel has been pretty weak, but I'd watch Thor again over this. I think. I mean, that was ridiculous, but this is just boring.
Thor at least revels and loves to be silly.
Yeah, this is like
Thunder. This it will be silly, but in a very dark movie that feels like it doesn't want to be silly in every way.
No.
And then they'll do a silly thing, and it'll feel weird.
Yes, it's very strange, and it's I think Dwayne Johnson can do this character. I don't mind him being like this anti kind of hero, angry guy. It's fine, but it's too much. It's just very overbearing in this movie.
Well, while we're talking about his performance, can we talk about how much it seemed like for a person who's been championing this movie for like 10 years, they say?
Yeah.
How uninterested he seems in terms of his actual performance.
Yeah.
I mean, Shazam is supposed to be this guy's main,
villain.
He wants nothing to do with that.
Oh wait, is Shazam the hero?
Shazam's the hero.
Shazam's the hero.
Shazam's the hero.
Point is, that Shazam movie is incredible. I
love the
actually really
Shazam
like that
movie.
movie. It had a very fun tone, and I
Yeah.
think they could have leaned into making this more fun. And because it's more fun, he can almost be worse. Because they're also doing this thing where they're like, that's not what it means to be a hero in our
God.
world. Superman in this world has killed people.
That's why it doesn't make any sense
If
because
Superman's killed people, why do I care that he's doing it? I don't.
They can't suddenly introduce this in a world where Batman has guns and kills people, Superman throws people off of buildings and explodes towers like it's 9/11, and Wonder Woman literally exploded an entire floor of a bank to stop one guy after stopping 100 guys in a row with completely unarmed. This universe has never given a shit about. People call this grounded. It's not grounded. It's just dark and edgy. That's not grounded at all. It's just dumb. This is way more ridiculous. I actually think most of the Marvel movies are more grounded in reality than these are. If
Absolutely,
you actually sit down and watch
especially
them.
now.
Yeah.
Especially now. They've like made strides in making it feel more grounded.
This is just like a CGI fest. I mean, like, the CGI looks way too shiny. It's good. A lot of this movie,
But
to
that's
me,
what you mean by, Zack Snyder light.
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
like it's almost there with the style. It definitely looks like they just applied the color palette.
slow-mo and
they
the
didn't,
color
like,
palette.
know how to utilize
Yeah.
it in the same way as a
the
filmmaker.
close-up slow-mos,
Right.
a lot of that shit. But no, it just doesn't. It's flat. It's just a lot of it's flat, and it's. To me, this just felt like a 2-hour episode of Injustice, the video game. It was just like watching them just beat the shit out of each other. This whole movie essentially would work as like the climax to a whole movie that should have been here. And there's some bits and pieces here, but like, it's just exhausting.
Here's a question. Do you need the Justice Society in this?
Yes. You need somebody. You need something to latch onto in this movie.
Is it not set up that the human, our POV will be the child and the mom?
I think you could do it without them. You could do a movie where it's them. I think you're right in the sense that the actual threat in this movie, which is the intergang or whatever, they don't really build that up that much. You see the kid go through a checkpoint. He's kind of on friendly terms with the guy, but not really. I don't know. I was really confused by the relationship there, and then we don't really see much other than that. And I'm like, I get checkpoints. You can infer what's going on, but it would have been nice if the guy who becomes the Demon King was oppressing his people in some way, and we saw him torturing somebody or do something evil that
They don't spend enough time fleshing out what's actually happening. It becomes a setting instead of a character.
And the other
bad it
thing
is.
with the Justice Society is they're you only come when our hero shows up, and it's yeah, but we still haven't seen what's going on that would warrant superheroes showing up to help you, because you only see checkpoints, and your country is obviously under occupation, but that doesn't warrant a superhero team coming in. That's regular politics. It's superheroes deal with superhero stuff. So try to add this political lens to it, I get it, but it just didn't work in this movie. It just was adding another thing into the meat grinder. And I guess that's a good place to bring us to final thoughts. So I'll start with final thoughts. This movie, I was trying to go with it. It's got an interesting beginning, albeit very Scorpion King-like, 300-esque, but had something interesting going on, and I was kind of going with it for that first act, like you said, and then it just kind of slips into action scene after action scene after action scene, and it just becomes a monotonous slog of people punching each other. And it is monotonous and it's repetitive, and I wanted it to end. And then when it didn't end, when I thought it was going to, my soul was crushed. And it was the worst feeling ever. And you should never feel that watching a movie. This was a soul-crushing film, and I give it two bags of Lay's chips out of 5. TJ, final thoughts.
Look, if you're a DC fan, if you love the comics and you just want to see something you like, go see this movie by all means.
Sure.
This is a movie for the people who already know and kind of love this property. For me, as a more casual viewer, who truthfully always wants to like DC more than I do, and not because of the characters, but normally just because of the dull aesthetic, like, and it doesn't need to be so vibrant that we're calling it a joke, like how people refer to the George Clooney Batman movies, you know?
Right.
But like, it needs to feel like a place that actually is real to me, and not like you just turned down the like saturation, yeah, and kind of was like, look at how edgy this is. It doesn't work for me. It hasn't worked for me in any movie, and it's fine. I'll accept they're not for me. I give this movie 2 stars out of, or 2 Shazam lightning bolts out of 5. And frankly, it had some good things, but not good enough to make me not want it to end when I thought he got captured.
100%.
Or you can be its savior.
So there you have it. Like and subscribe, and be sure to write all your angry comments about how we're Marvel fanboys and we hate DC, even though I just listed a bunch of DC things that I like.
If you like the Snyderverse, let us know down below.
Yeah, and we'll know to ignore your comments here on out. Don't watch this movie.
Like and subscribe.
But do watch us. Okay.
Yeah, that feels like the end.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Why is it so bad, Scott?
It was really bad.